Hi all. Right, let's see if we can get this example of play, Erasmus example of play finished. I've got my doubts I'll fill this all in one video, but we might as well start and see. So it's on with the Allies card play number 4. So it's just a short one. This could be one where they maybe pass, I think, possibly. But let's see. Access the... sorry, I might have cut that off. So axis of determination, still open in phases. So let's see where we are. So A is, do the Allies have 3 or more cards? Well, no, they don't. They have 2 cards left. So that's a no, which jumps down to F plus G. And F says, do the Allies have 1 or more passes? Yeah, they've got 2 passes, so that's a yes. Is G a yes? Do the Allies have 1 card remaining? Well, that's no. So F and G is a no. So H plus I is the last Allied card play. Is this the last Allied card play of the turn? No. No, because I've got 2 cards left to play. So, and then I is at game turn 3. But however, we've satisfied the fact that H doesn't work anyway. So H is a no. So event strategy, and we've got note number 2 there, which says play events in the listed order if the card and condition exists. War in Europe, inter-service rivalry, future offensives queue. Okay, play events in the listed order, is that right? Yeah. Okay, well, it's got that note there, but then when we go up to look at event strategy, whether you would need to go down there, maybe there is some notes that apply, but it does say war in Europe as event, then to ISR, end if allies under ISR, else future offensives queue, and then third one, ISR create for the card draw always. Yeah, so we do, no we don't, we use the war in Europe. I was going to say, no, we don't have a war in Europe, it's the, I get muddled up there, it's the Japanese that have got a war in Europe card. So, yeah, so war in Europe as event, right, we don't have that. Inter-service rivalry, end if the allies are under it. We don't have a card that would give us that anyway, but we're not under inter-service rivalry. We don't have the dual raid card. Baton, if applicable, else to the FOQ. I'm assuming Baton is a card. We've not got that. And then it says others, if no future offensive queue, put event that is not playable this time into the future offensive queue. And then the last one is offensive attack. And I think I got a bit muddled up here wondering, because I do have 2 events, and one of them is kind of playable and quite useful, I think. The other one is not. And I was thinking, well, what do I do with these? But I think that's what the others means. So step 6, if you get down to others, then others you would play. But then it's got, if no future offensive queue, put event that is not playable at this time into the future offensive queue. Okay, well, I'll show you the cards. Okay, well, there's our 2 cards, and this one is not playable because the China marker is in the stable front. So I could understand putting that in the future offensive queue. However, this card is playable. It says allied player immediately receives 1 permanent amphibious shipping point, which sounds like a pretty good thing to me. And then you would remove that from play. So I think the fact it says others, I think you look at others, and if they're playable, then you would play the others. If, however, your events were unplayable, then you would put one of them in the future offensive queue. How you would decide between which one, if they happen to be both unplayable, and which one to put in the future offensive queue, I don't know. That might be one of the things that you've got to decide upon. So let's see. Well, let's just double check and make sure we do have that right, because it's possible that it might put this in the future offensive queue first. But I think it plays this card, and it looks like my thinking is wrong. It's not a good sign when we're getting to the end of this, and I'm going to be let loose to try and deal with this myself, is it? So we do come to event strategy, and then it says an interesting result. In reading through the event strategy box, the best option is to play the China offensive card to FOQ, as it isn't really playable as an event at this time, because China is stable. With nothing else to do, play continues with the Japanese. Right. Well, I'm not immediately happy with that. Hang on then. Okay, well, it's not terribly clear to me that, but I'm wondering if the actual note actually is more relevant than I thought, because it says play events in the listed order if the card and condition exists. Then it's got War in Europe, Inter-Service Rivalry. So they're the two main ones that it wants to try and play. Obviously, to affect the War in Europe track, or to remove an Inter-Service Rivalry, or maybe even put the Japanese under Inter-Service Rivalry. But then the last bit there is future offensives queue. So it does say play events in the listed order. So maybe it either wants to play War in Europe or Inter-Service Rivalry, and the next priority is to put a card in the future offensives queue. Yeah, that's the only way I can think about that. I don't feel like I had trouble the first time round when I looked over this with that one, but so we can't do 1, we can't do 2, we can't do 3, 4, 5, and then once it gets to 6, it says others. So I guess others takes in everything else that's not above there. And then I suppose it does say, if no FOQ, put event that is not playable at this time into the FOQ. Oh well, yeah, I suppose when you read it that way, it does actually make it more clear. There you go. Okay, so we're going to move, because this China offensive card could be useful later on, so we're going to move that, and what you do is you flip that over and put one of these markers on it. I dare say flipping it over is not really that relevant when you're trying to play it solo, but it's just so that can carry on for the next game turn, and your opponent doesn't know what it is. He's not allowed to know what that is. So I'll just put that across there, and then, well, that's the Allied turn finished. So back to Japanese. This is card play 5 for them. They have 2 cards left in hand. So let's go. HQs, Philippines, DEI and Malaya out of supply. No. Sorry. Are Allied HQs in the Philippines, DEI and Malaya out of supply? Yes. Are the DEI surrender objectives? That's the right bit I'm on, isn't it? Yeah, I've skipped a couple of days here, and I don't seem to be that I'm that fresh with what I'm doing. Another worrying sign to moving on. Are Allied HQs in the Philippines, DEI and Malaya out of supply? Yes, they are. We've dealt with that. So yes takes us down to B. Are the DEI surrender objectives occupied? No. No, they are not. We've not got them all dealt with yet. Right, so we're still looking at that probably. So that's a no. So C plus D. Does Japan have 3 or more cards? It does not. However, it does control less than 13 resource hexes. But, however, it does not have 3 or more cards. So C plus D is a no, taking us down to G. Is it game turn 3 or later? It is not, taking us down to A plus C plus D. A is yes. C is no. So that's going to result in a no, taking us along to C plus. And then C is, does Japan have 3 or more cards? So this box here is going to be a no. We don't need to look at Yeah, because C has to be part of it. So that's a no. Oh, is this right? I feel like I've got lost here. Yeah, because C is, does Japan have 3 or more cards? Well, no, it doesn't. It has 2 cards. That's definitely a no. So, right, here's a good one. C plus J plus E plus B or I or K. Okay. Well, we know C's no. So again, I think we don't need to look at all into that. We can just keep going down again. And then C plus L, clearly C is still no. Takes us over to M. Has a defense perimeter strategy objective number 1 been achieved? Has the defense perimeter strategy objective number 1 been achieved? Well, I've not looked at that one yet. I'm not sure I'm in the right place here. This isn't ringing any bells. Well, there's the defense perimeter, and is there not more information about that? There's not even any notes to that. So defense perimeter is Australian mandates, and so has the defense perimeter strategy been in? And there's Australian mandates there. So Rabaul if Allied controlled, or Guadalcanal. Does that mean we're trying to take them? Well, Rabaul is Japanese controlled, so Guadalcanal has nothing in it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm away in the wrong place here. So let's see where we went wrong then. If we went right, then we want to do something at Guadalcanal, but I've got a feeling that's wrong. So let us see. Oh no, defense perimeter strategy. Is that not what I came to? Oh yeah. Well, there you go then. That just doesn't seem. So yeah. Well, just quickly, A was yes. B was talking about no, and then these are all no's, because C tells it as a no because we don't have 3 or more cards. We've only got 2 cards. So, and then takes us down to M, and M was, has a defense perimeter strategy objective number 1 been achieved? And it says no, so defense perimeter strategy. So we're right. So what does that mean then? Since the Japanese got below 3 remaining cards, the logic of the chart changed significantly, and it shifted Japanese strategy towards establishing a defensive perimeter in the South Pacific. The first available target in the Australian mandates objective is Guadalcanal. Okay, it just must be because it's got less than 3 cards, it maybe doesn't think it can do more of this aggressive stuff, I suppose. Oh well, in the areas. I'm not sure, but yeah. So card selection. Let's move on to that then. Card selection. Right, and we've only got 2 cards left. So, so A. Have any cards been played this offensive phase? Well, yes. I'm going to say yes to that. It's irrelevant if we jump across the sort cards anyway, but B, does the hand currently hold more than 2 cards? Well, no, because we've got only 1 card, so this is where it's going to shimmy along a bit. So it goes to H. Oops. It goes along to H here, which is, have you chosen a future offensive card to set aside this turn? Well, not for the Japanese, no. So that takes us along to I, which is, are the DEI objectives complete? And it says axis of determination opening only. So must be only if you're on the opening in the opening phase, and the DEI objectives are the DI objectives complete? Okay, so just went back to, this is access the determination flowchart again, obviously open in phases, because that's what it'll look, and it says, are the DEI objectives complete? Well, my guess is going to be that it means this box, DEI surrender, but there's DEI neutralization here. Which is they're different. Is that? No, they're different places, aren't they? Yeah, Makassar, I can see it there. It's on Celebes, on the southern point of Celebes. But yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, like I say, I would think this would be the DI objectives. Or, hang on, if we get... yeah, hold on, Grant. Is it right in saying that if we capture all these, then we'll automatically gain the rest? I know that's what happens with some of the other ones. Could that be it? Now there was something on the... I've got the wrong thing, I think. Have I? Oh no, here we go. In Dutch East Indies, the national surrender is if you've got Chawat Jap and the 7 resource hexes. Okay, I think that could be what we needed. I'm looking at Dutch national status, national surrender. It's in Rule 13. And I'm looking at, that looks like a wee typo there as well. It's 13.4, so 13.41 it must mean. It's actually showing it as a 12 there, but however. Well, actually, no. 13.42 says the Dutch East Indies surrender when the Japanese player controls the 7 resource spaces on Sumatra, Borneo, and Java, and controls Chawat Jap. When the Dutch East Indies surrender, all Dutch units are removed from play during the national status segment, and the Japanese gain control of all airfields and ports in Dutch East Indies that do not contain US or Commonwealth ground units. So, and saying that, any allied or naval units in hexes that do not contain US or Commonwealth ground units. Well, I suppose that if we did have a ground unit, that would stop that from happening. And then it says, well, you gain control of all, and I'm wondering that Makassar is one of these airfields here. So with the fall of the Dutch East Indies, we would gain control of that. However, I was just thinking there, if we had an allied ground unit in there somehow, that would stop that. So I'm just trying to work out here what the question it's asking, are the Dutch East Indies objectives complete? Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that that's not the case. They're not, and that's because we've not got all the areas. I mean, we've not got Sarabaja here, Sarabaja, which is one of them. To be honest, that might be one of the few. Well, actually, no, there's one. I think this is one as well, isn't it? Okay, well, let's go back and we can see what the playthrough says. So that was question. That was I, which is way along here. So we're saying no to that. So then it says a non-military event OC strategy, with a wee note. A wee 3 is the note, which tells us use the first card in the sorted order you perform for the cards at the beginning of the offensive phase. Oh well. Okay. Oh no, we are going to be alright here, because it's going to use that over that. And then non-military event OC strategy, and then this is the bit that I feel you could have some issue, but maybe not. Maybe I'm seeing that wrong, or maybe it's impossible for them to be different. I don't know. So let's pick the card with the highest OC value. But then again, we're still showing 2 cards in our hand, and that's the order of them. So this one we picked, and then that's the highest OC value as well. So that's the one that we picked. Right, well, let's see if I've got that right. Something feels a bit off there again as well. Well, no, that's not. We do get to non-military event OC strategy, and it says the card selected is a War on Europe card. Okay, so that is indeed the card we're going to use to play. So, and just glancing there, we are actually creating a task force to take Guadalcanal. So, I mean, yeah, fair enough. And Guadalcanal's empty, so let's see. Where's the task force? Finding them all. Right, here we are. Right, let's create a task force here. And remember this does have a wee 1, and that just as a reminder, we need to watch that, because create a force per this chart for each target determined by the axis determination chart. If the OC offensive and 1 battle hex has already been designated, only consider unoccupied targets, then 2 card combinations. So we're actually going to be in that position, because this is going to be an OC, because this isn't a military event. So, right, is this an air naval attack on the target? It's no. I mean, Guadalcanal's empty, so there's nothing in it. So, no. B, is the target a coastal or island hex? Yes. C, can you capture it with overland advance? No. It's an island on its own. So, where we see no. Down to D, is the target unoccupied? Yes, it is. Down to G, is the target a potential SR hex? No. No. No, it's not. What was that? G. So we want unsupported invasion. 4 and 5 tell us, yeah, for ground units occupying a non-Japanese islands, HQ 1 must remain unactivated in the hex guard in the HQ. And 5, activate 1 ground unit to invade the target via AA, use organic transportation if available. Thus activate the accompanying naval unit. If not available, use ASP. Yeah. So if it's one of the units that can use organic transport and they've got a naval unit beside it, then we just move them. If we had no ASPs, we would skip this. And obviously if we don't have an organic transportation unit, then we can use a normal unit that can amphibiously assault and use an ASP. Right, okay. What was that? Unsupported invasion. So yeah, and there's the wee box there which just says force, ground, unit, amphibiously assault. Okay, so let's go and have a look, see if we can work this one out for ourselves then, because there is one quite close by. So right, so here, this is the card we're going to use, War in Europe. Again, it's a 3 OC value card, and that's pretty much all we're looking at, apart from the fact this is a 5, so if the Allies attempt to react, that's what they'll need to roll to. So here's Guadalcanal here, it's on its own. Now we could just as easily use the South Seas, I think, to activate this, to use this and the naval unit it's with, to just pop down to Guadalcanal, and that doesn't cost an ASP to do that. And that would be that. Now, can the Allies react here? It's doubtful, although can the US activate Australian units? Because we've got the, what is it, South Pacific one up in Pearl Harbor. Yeah, see, it can't, because it's just a US headquarters, it can't activate Commonwealth units. So it couldn't activate you know, these Australian units if it was relevant that they could do something. You know, this is an air unit which could. No, probably couldn't. But I don't think there's anything that can get into Guadalcanal. I mean, these are all Australian units. So yeah, I don't think nothing can be done here. And it looks like that could stroll into there. Now, whether it uses that, I think it probably will be using that unit because there's nothing else sort of nearby. So let's go and see what they decide to do anyway. Let's chuck that out of the way. Task force composition. Okay, so what did we get to? Unsupported invasion, so that's right. Activate units for the target, and then it goes. What is it? Are there enough activations to fulfill the battle support criteria? Yes. Jai has a damage level from the target being achieved? Yes. I mean, obviously it's just jumping through them, but you know, when I start doing that myself, I'm going to look at each one of these and answer them. You know, check that I've activated the right amount. But I suppose the likes of that, all it needs is any kind of amphibious assault unit just into Guadalcanal, and that's it. Job done. So where are we? Where are we? Jai, yes. So move activated units to the target, and then K plus L is can enemy naval ground units react to the target, and L is this an easy offensive. Well, both of them are no. So if they had enemy naval or ground units that could react, and it was an easy offensive, that would still be a no. Oh yeah, Grant, I'm thinking as the allies here. Yeah, so there's no enemy. Well, it's not an easy offensive. Yeah, what it's doing here is saying if it's an OC offensive, you can't create another battle hex anyway, so you can't go pin in other units. That's what it's meaning. Yeah, I remember clicking to that one before. Well, a couple of days away, and you're just like lost. Okay, and then so that pushes you on to M, and then is this the last objective? No, and then create a new force for the target. Well, okay, let's just find out what our next objective would be then, because we were what was that? That is we need to go back to axis determination, don't we? Over in phase, right. Right, so I know I've got the force for that. We've not decided which units are moving yet. We'll come back to that. I just want to double check where now what did we get to? Yeah, I'm getting a bit lost here. What did we end up with first? Sorry, I'm going to have to just look back here, because I'm getting myself in a muddle. Defense perimeter strategy. So that's the strategy we're using. And yeah. Okay. So we look at Australian mandates first, and then Australian mandates Rabaul if Allied control. Well, it's not. Guadalcanal, we're about to deal with that. So that Australian mandates box is going to be complete then. Well, you know, that we've done as much as we can for that. So now it's going to be New Guinea defensive perimeter. So that's going to be the next strategy. And where is that? There, it's there. So you get Hollandia is going to be the first one. Now, oh well, mind you, we're not creating a battle hex by just moving into Guadalcanal, are we? So we could actually attack something else. Well, where's Hollandia? Oh yeah, okay, right. That's on New Guinea, right? Yeah, okay. So this would be the next. Sorry, it's this hex here actually. That would be the next target, and then after that you're looking at Lae, L-A-E, which is here, and then Buna, which is, I don't know, oh there, it's there. Sorry, I'm just off camera there. There's Lae and there's Buna. So, well, my guess would be Hollandia would be the next one, but can it? Yeah, well, it will be Lae. I'll need to use an ASP this time. So it could probably amphibiously assault here, and then it's still got, well, actually, how many activations does it have? We've not checked that. It's 3 for the card, and it's 2 for the South Seas. So it could potentially take up maybe 2 or 3 of these then. Right, I think we've done enough thinking about what it's going to do. Let's just go and see. Right, so sorry, I know I'm swinging things about a bit. Let's try to keep it moving here. I'm very much doubtful of getting this done in a one. I think I'll just play this part out and then we'll leave one space for a last part. Right, so it says the next targets, Hollandia and Lae, will resolve the same way on the task force chart. Using South Seas HQ will allow 5 activations. Will activate Sea Aoba and SS Brigade in Rabaul. Right, that's the ones we looked at, and we thought they would be going to Guadalcanal to invade Guadalcanal and capture the first target on the New Guinea. Yeah, we'll activate Sea Aoba and SS Brigade in Rabaul to invade Guadalcanal and capture the first target on the New Guinea objective. Hollandia the same way by using 4 SM Brigade and CL Tenru and Kwajalein. For the last activation, we'll use an ASP and invade Lae with the 4 SM Brigade in Guam. Okay, so, well, I think we were heading the right way anyway. We had that sort of worked out. So our activations are going to be, we're going to activate these 2. We are taking we need to take the naval unit with that one because I think we do. Yeah, I think that gives us the 3 without the amphibious shipping point. So that's 1, 2. We still have 4 activations left. And the next things to activate, well, you know what, we'll just move that because that's the way it's kind of been dealing with it and it keeps it simple. So these move down to Guadalcanal. Well, what about an allied reaction though? Okay, I'm just jumping back up there to see that. Well, it doesn't matter. We can still move them, and then they decide if they're going to react, don't they? So yeah, that goes down to Guadalcanal, and obviously I don't control it just yet because if they do react and do something, but and then 4 SN Brigade and CL and Kwajalein, CL Tenru. Alright, I don't know where this is. Hang on. Okay, this one's up here. It's under this air unit. That's the 4SN and the Tenru. So we would activate these 2 for another 2 activations, leaving us 2. And again, this would come down, and that's one that's going to Hollandia. And obviously it's activated by that as well. No issues with supply and activation. And then it gets 15 movement. So there's no problem in getting down to Hollandia. So yeah, he comes all the way down here. I'm assuming that's the hex. It looks like it's on the land, that hex, doesn't it? Yeah, I suppose there's a wee... Well, but you know what? It's got a port. It's got a port symbol, so a ship must be actually able to get in there. So, and then the last 2 activations need to use an ASP and invade Leh with the 4SN Brigade in Guam. Right, that can't be 4SN, that must be a misprint as well, because that's the 4SN. However, I think that's Guam. And I'm not really keyed up on, I was right, look at that. So he's 3SN, so it must be a misprint. So we activate him. Now he's not coming with a naval unit, however, but he can go from here to Leh, doing exactly the same as what they guys have done. However, it will cost an amphibious shipping point to do that. So that moves our shipping points up to 3, but as I get near the end of the turn anyway, that's not really relevant. We've only got one more card in the hand. That was the last 2 activations. And yeah, and because, you know, I know there was other targets there. What was after Leh, did we say? Buna. But we don't have any other activations, so we can't activate any more units. Oh, actually, I'm saying that. No, actually, we did have one left. That was only 5 units. Right, hang on. No, it was only 5 activations we were getting, Grant. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I miscounted that somewhere. So, yeah, so we don't have any activations left, so fair enough. So, there it says, so Task Force A, CA Elba, SS Brigade attacks Guadalcanal. Oh, yeah, okay, I was saying there wasn't. Well, hang on, though. It mustn't be, although they're attacking, it's not creating a battle hex then as such, is it? Because as we're playing this and as an OC card, I know you're only allowed 1 battle hex, so it must be because it's empty, there's not a battle hex created. So, and then CL Tenru 4SN Brigade attacks Hollandia, and then Task Force C, which should say 3SN Brigade to Leh. Okay, we got there in the end. Right, so there's Allied reaction. Well, let's have a look at the chart. So, Allied reaction, are there any SR situations? No. B, are there battle hexes? Well, there you go, no. Although that was saying attacking, like I've just explained there, I think it means that there's not an actual battle going on. They are attacking an enemy port, if you like, an enemy occupied hex, but so no battle hexes, no, I believe. And then that brings us right down to H+I, which is regarding the submarine bit again, then execute post-battle moves. So let's just see. So they're not getting to react. Oops. It's alright. So just pushing back up there. Yeah, execute post-battle move, applicable. No battle hexes, so no real reaction possible for the Allies. So yeah, so they can't actually react at all. The only way would have been if they had had a zone of influence in any of the hexes, they would have had a chance to have the special reaction. But obviously, they've none of that going on at the moment because, yeah, they've not got a lot going on at all. So there is nothing to roll as there is no defence. With Guadalcanal captured, the mandates will surrender to the Japanese during national status. Yeah, because they need just to control Rabaul and Guadalcanal, don't they? And then they automatically gain control of all the other mandates, hexes. I'm not sure that mandates, right? You guys don't know what this is. Meant Solomon Islands, or is that just a different name for them? Solomon Sea, or is the mandate's the name for the islands, maybe? But then Solomon Islands. I've heard the name getting thingied about, but I'm afraid my geography and history in this area is not that it's much better than any other areas, to be honest. Okay, so post-battle move, let's just jump through this. So there's no air, but there is naval. So it says, in reading the strategy, the naval units will stay where they are over to the Allies. Okay, so yeah, the strategy involved, rather than go back, feel like we just need to get this finished. So this would take control of this, and it's saying that that naval unit would just stay there. It is sitting in the nearest port, right enough. Makes sense. This guy takes control. Well, we should actually have control markers, Grant, if we're doing it properly. Although it looks like we're going to have control of all of these anyway, but let's just do it like this to keep myself right. And also wait. Yeah, and that's the 2 hexes that are required to get a surrender in this area, is Rabaul and Guadalcanal. And then we also take control of Hollandia, but well, actually that's on New Guinea, so maybe it's not. I don't know if you gain control, is it all the islands? I think you get maybe. Yeah, I think that's the case. You gain control of all the islands if you've got these two. I suppose we could look it up. Hang on. Yeah, it's not so much a surrender with this one. This is 13.84 mandate control. Whoever controls Rabaul and Guadalcanal during national status segment gains control of all mandate hexes that are not occupied by opposing ground units. Any opposing air and naval units and hexes that change control must immediately use emergency air naval movement to exit. It takes the control of both hexes during a national status segment to change control back. Recapturing one of the hexes is insufficient. Okay. So, yeah, and just to try and work out what are the mandates then. Does it go on this? No, I must tell you somewhere. I mean, you mustn't be just left to know that these are the mandates, surely. It must say it somewhere. And I know you're probably shaking your heads, and you should know this is the mandates. Well, I don't. I've heard of it being talked about in the games that I've been playing, but I mean, it says Solomon Islands. So, but then I've heard that being mentioned as the mandates, so whether it's just another name for it. Okay. Right, well, I'm just going to cut that there. I'm as well leaving another wee bit for an episode. So, yeah, that's the last. That's so the ally. The Japanese have 1 card left, and the Allies have 1 card left, and the Allies have put a card into the future offensive. So that's it. Okay, I'll leave it for now, guys, and I'll get back to definitely finish this for the next episode, and then I can work out what I'm going to do. And I think the best idea, it's got a downside to it, but I think the best idea for myself is just to probably go on and play most of the first. If I'm going to start, I think I'm going to just start from the beginning again, and just try and play maybe all. Mind you, I say all the first turn. That's quite a lot. Just see how I'm going, I suppose, because I need to be able to get right through that first turn, probably to find out if I'm going to be able to cope with this. The thing with the first turn is, though, you can see that the Allies, they're not doing an awful lot. So, to be honest, the first turn might be quite easy to come to terms with, because, I mean, yeah, and I'm probably going to lock in what I've just seen a lot of and make similar moves, sort of like copying a little bit, which is a bit of a meh, but I guess there's certain things that just, with every game of this, there's certain things that you want to do. If you're playing as a Japanese, or whether it's a bot or a player, then these are the things you want to do, you know. You need to move fast, because the Allies are eventually going to get lots and lots of reinforcements as the turns go on. So you need to take as much as you can and make things hard for them to get back into it, really, I think. So, anyway. Okay, yeah, and the downside, what I was suggesting there could be a bit of a downside, and that is that I'm likely to make some mistakes. So with not uploading any video footage, maybe for a bit to see how I'm doing with it, could then mean that when I do upload, if I do upload like half a dozen videos, then somebody might say something in the first video, oh, you totally blundered here, and then I've like created 6 videos, and then I'm thinking, yeah, because it's the one thing I think I mentioned already. I'm a big stickler for the rules. I hate getting rules wrong. You know, that's what I don't want to do. You know, I don't mind pure strategy decisions. I don't mind doing that, but I don't like breaking any rules. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. We've still got one episode to go, and hopefully it's just the one, and then we can see. And yeah, not had too much feedback, so it makes me wonder again if this is something that anybody wants to see. There was a wee bit at first, but I've not heard any more. But sometimes I'm not sure if this is of interest to anybody. It is of interest to myself, and trying to move on to this next step and trying to do this by myself. So I'll definitely give that a go. Whether I get all the way through the turn or if I realise that it's too much for me, or I might just get through the turn and then just sort of chuck the towel in. But I hope not. I'd like to, because as the turns go on, obviously the allies get right back into things, and you know, and I think then it gets a lot harder though, because lots of the zones of influence about and whatever. So I mean, turn 2 is probably quite an easier part of the game to be in, really. Whereas turn 4 and 5, maybe that's when it might get me if I get there. Right, I'll stop rabbiting on now, and I'll be back with that last part sometime soon. Okay, cheers.